So, summarizing, and if you have been following us, you have all the information on what has been happening last. And now I want to share with you some updates. So we will talk about E10 Type A, automatic path planning, OmniCore iMotion, spend some words on the new safety standard and the machine regulation that will come, talk about App Studio and trial licenses. And starting with the E10 upgrade. So any one of you using E10, you know that the E10 was originally not designed for safe operation. It was designed as an essential entry model. When evaluating our concepts, we found that we actually could redesign the software side and some parts of the electronics, and we now have an E10 that is capable of safe move, safe field buses, master field buses, and safe scalable I/O. Sorry for the mistake in the bottom. It says 2025 Q2. That should be 2026 Q1. Sorry for that one. We will introduce the E10 Type A in a running way, but the software function, and this is really critical, the software functions will be available in 26 Q1. So that is something that is coming. Just want to highlight that we are working on harmonizing the concepts, and now the only remaining part was the safety on the E10 to make that fully operational as well. Automatic path planning. I hope you have tried automatic path planning if you're running Robot Studio. So down to the left, you have Robot Studio environment where you can run automatic path planning. So this is a four-way solution for possibilities for automatic path planning. Now, automatic path planning is, instead of you manually select and create your path in between a starting point and an entry point or an exit point, you just define those positions. You have the CAD model of your environment, and you click create path, and the Robot Studio solution will create a path for you, which is collision free. So if you have Robot Studio, this is automatically included. We have our global solution centers that are also starting to use automatic path planning in their solutions, which could be a deep pelletizing solution where you have a camera that looks for the next parcel, and you will create a path from the position you identify. So that is available. We will come into the OmniCore iMotion, which is a new way of using vision capabilities in Robot Studio in the applications together with our OmniCore controller. In that solution, we also offer automatic path planning. And the fourth way, and this is really interesting, if you find that, okay, I have my unique solution, I really want to do I have an unknown, unstructured environment where I want to use vision to identify something, or I want to use some other means of identifying an object, and I want to create this automatic path planning online as a service for your unique specified product. We have an open solution where you can purchase our software part, and you can integrate that nicely into your application. So you can online generate a new path every time. We have some specifics on that one, so I can say this one: if you are interested in any one of those topics I'm pitching and want to have more details, I recommend you to contact your local sales or someone else that can bring more data, more information about those specific topics. So now there are some words about the OmniCore iMotion. OmniCore iMotion is a new way of integrating a vision capability into the OmniCore controller. And currently, I think you would agree with me, if you're running a vision capability in your cell, you typically buy a camera, and you also purchase the software stacks that are required to identify whatever you are looking at and create some knowledge about pick location, or if you do quality evaluation. And then you need to spend a lot of time to integrate that information into the robot system and the rapid coding to make sure that you can move the robot to pick up or place parts. So what we have done is to make sure that everything is integrated. We are removing the skill requirements of these engineers. We have it super nicely integrated. So starting to the left, we can use any standard camera. So it doesn't need to be smart cameras. So any standard camera that is on the market, 2D, 3D, doesn't matter. It depends on what you want to have. Resolution, color, monochrome, that is really up to you. When you have those, call it eyes, we will bring that information into a sequence. So that is a third part of this picture, where you with blocks can identify what do I want to do? What do I want to identify the part? So am I using a CAD model and CAD matching? And when I have this CAD matching, how do I identify the pick location and the grasping location? And you elaborate the skills in each and one of those blocks. If you are using automatic path planning, then the path will be generated for you. And then this information is sent to the Rapid. So it comes as a different, call it a software service. And within Rapid environment, you more or less only have two commands. That is to ask for information and feedback and get it, receive it, and execute on that feedback. We also have, apart from identifying parts and objects, you can also do work object localization of frames, fixtures, pallets in a super easy way. So if you have like a pallet coming in, the location of that could be plus minus 10 centimeters, it doesn't matter. We will use an identifier on that pallet, and you are identifying that work object relationship automatically. So really, we are making vision capability available in a super simple way. I think it's super important to also cover the area of certification. There is a new safety certification or safety standard available that is called ISO 10218-1 and -2. Now the -1 is covering the robot, and -2 is covering the application of the cell. And there was a release in February this year with the edition 2025. And you might think, so why is this important? Yeah, it's important because this safety standard is referred to by machine directive or CE marking, which will be called machine regulation onwards. And it's also referred to by the UL standard, the UL 1740. So this is really why this 10-18 standard is so important. And it comes with changes to how we look at safety. So I told you in the beginning that safety is becoming more and more important, and that is then visualized through this standard. I will not go into super details on what is changed, but I will show you a timeline and the ABB way of supporting you. So on the top line, you have the edition 2011. Now that will be withdrawn, which means it will not be legally valid anymore in Q1 2027. It says January ? Because the actual harmonization dates are not set yet. So that is done during the grace period of approximately 2 years, in between February 5th, when the new edition 2025 was released. In the middle, you can see the RSA5 timeline. Now, RSA5 we are replacing by OmniCore. And that kind of aligns with the timeline for the new safety standard. So we have decided not to upgrade RC5 according to the new standard. There are good technical reasons for it and also business-related reasons. It would be quite cumbersome for us to make that transfer. So the last order date or last time buy will happen by end of December this year or December timeline this year, and the last delivery is planned for 2026. And this is really something you need to align with your local salespeople that will help you to select OmniCore equivalent robots instead of RSC5s if you are still using RSC5s. If you are using OmniCore, you are home free. On the OmniCore side, so that has a starting triangle in Q1 2026. This is where we will be compliant with the new ISO standard. And the ISO standard using OmniCore is a software upgrade. If you look at the standard, it includes manipulators, cybersecurity, it includes a lot of things. When we evaluate the impact on ABB, it's purely a software upgrade. And that software will be called Robotware 8. And stay tuned, and we'll tell you more about it when it is alive in Q1 2026. And on the last bottom, of course, it will have an impact for you. Until January 27, you can certify according to the current standard. And by Q1 27, you will need to change to the new standard. So going back to some software new features that I want to pitch for you. When you are moving and transferring to OmniCore, there are some really great features that I think could be beneficial for you to know about. One is App Studio. Now, App Studio is a way of designing the user interface on the Flex panel. You remember Screen Maker that is available on RC5. So this is Screen Maker on steroids, designed for the OmniCore environment, where you can design your applications, you can make them graphical, you can have the buttons and the meters and the gauges, everything that you need, and connect that into code in your Rapid environment. So really super great if you want to have the OmniCore Flex panel as the user interface for your application. Now, if you design this one, the technology we're using are web-based, which means that you can easily use the same screens if you are using a PLC environment instead. So super flexible and will allow you to create really great screens for user interaction. And this is what it might look like. This one is a palletizing solution where you can, well, your imagination is the limit. So you can tailor it to be flexible on the number of boxes, sizes of boxes, how you want to arrange the layers, and make sure that so you can have a super flexible solution. Or if you're running static, then of course you can have that one. And you can also monitor when you're running operation, what is the status of your process. Next one I would like to pitch is, I'm not quite sure that when you are designing your applications, you might have a question, or you might have a situation where you can't solve your application needs and you would like to test something. And then as we have it currently, you need to buy the Robotware option, and that is kind of tedious. You need to use your purchasing department and contact the ABB customer service and get the new option and the new license key. We understand this is quite hard and it takes time and possibly also blocking you from using the opportunity of testing and test our software functions. So now we have decided that all the software functions, options are free. You have a 30-day trial license where you can elaborate on the solution. If it's great, if it solves your needs, then you have proper time to place an order and get the runtime license that you need. But at least it's possible to test and try and see if soft move is helping you, or world coordinates, or whatever advanced function could help you to create a better and more efficient solution. So this is coming with RobotWare 7.20, which will be released in November timeframe. So stay tuned a little bit, and you can start to use it for the RobotWare 7.20 and forward. And I couldn't help myself. We have Robot Studio environment, and I think it's worth to mention what is coming there as well to make your life easier. And in this way, we have introduced the Robot Studio AI Assistant. This is super helpful. Imagine that you have a chat GPT that is super trained on the ABB Robot Studio environment. And what we do is every release, we feed this engine with the latest documentation. And in that way, you can be sure that it's working for you. And what it can do is you can select a module, a program, and you can ask it describe what it's doing, because sometimes the code is not easy to follow. So you can get it in plain text, the purpose of that module and what it's intended to do. It can help you to find and identify problems. And if you want to add something, you can ask it to help me to, for instance, I need a counter because this is a repetitive sequence that I'm running, but I really want to know the number of sequences I have been running. So you can ask it, please add, you need to be kind to it. That was, so please add a counter. Then you will get a proposal, how you define the different parts and the split. So prepare it, both the setting of the values and the parameters and how you include it in the code. So it's super helpful, and this is really being better and better for every time. So if you have the possibility, use the AI assistant and just ask it as it was your professional colleague to explain, to add, to create, to modify, and it will help you. Of course, you need to verify that it's the correct solution you want to have, but still it's super useful. Next, I want to tell you about another thing that we have been doing. It has been available for a while. It's to make, so you might think, okay, so I have an application, I have an installation in front of me. I don't have the CAD model. And if I don't have the CAD model, what can I do? Well, in this case, if you use our scan software, the ABB scan software, and you have an iPhone professional, because you need to have a LiDAR solution into it, LiDAR sensor, then you can use the iPhone to scan the full environment. When you have these point clouds, you can import it into the Robot Studio environment. Of course, that will be with tolerances plus minus 5 centimeters. But if you have that one, you can replace the robot, you can replace a fixture and all the important parts. But the scanned parts in the environment is good enough for creating the first path or running automatic path planning and everything that is required when you engineer. And then when you have your solution, you can download that one into the cell again. So really super nice, super efficient if you don't have the CAD model of the environment. And this is an illustration of the sequence coming from left to right. You do the scanning with Robot Studio AR Viewer, you import, you generate the program, you create the path, and you can use the automatic collision-free path planning. and you can download it into the application again. And of course, it shortens your commissioning time. It helps you to be creative without spending time on things that doesn't bring value.